I want to talk a little bit about the weapons on this offense because they have made a concerted effort to invest very heavily on the offensive line, which I think is great. But they have not invested very heavily at wide receiver. You've got Olave, who's a first-round pick, Shaheed, who you kind of found as a diamond in the rough. You go pick up Brandon Cooks off the scrap heap, and a tight end, I think you're okay. Where are you on the weapons that Tyler Shough's going to have to use with this offense?
Well, I think whoever the quarterback is, they need to get at least one more possession receiver. I mean, look, Brandon and Olave are the same receivers. They're the same size, essentially. They present speed down the field. And so does Rashid Shaheed. You got three guys who can burn down the field, but you desperately need a possession receiver. And that possession receiver, to me, isn't on this football team. I mean, unless they're counting Jawan Johnson to be their tweener, to be able to do the tight end and play a little bit outside and play some receiver. But they need to find somebody. I mean, it just goes without saying. It's just like, hey, maybe they need to find a veteran quarterback. They need to find a veteran receiver when they get closer to training camp or when they're in training camp, because I just don't know, Hunt, how it's going to work. I mean, your next receiver in that mix would be Bub Meem, Cedric Wilson. I just don't think that's really, Dante Pettis, I just don't think that's really, sexy enough for me in terms of possession receivers. You need to have that go-to guy over the middle of the field.
Yeah, I mean, that just sounds like a practice squad, which is basically what it is. I mean, Jawan Johnson, I was a little surprised at that contract. What did you think when they re-inked him?
Yeah, I think it was a bit much. And if you really want to make some money, go play for the Saints. Apparently, a lot of guys get a lot of big contracts to make you kind of say, okay. But, good for him. It ain't, it's not his fault. They gave it to him. So I think that, if he can produce like he did a couple years ago, I guess, he'll outkick that salary, and then they'll look like geniuses. So I guess we'll see if he can return to 2 years ago form and shape, and when he had a pretty solid season. And it's fine by me. I mean, I just think that they are what they are, Hunt. I mean, they're 4-6 wins right now. That's the problem. It's just the 4-6 wins. They are what they are.
Well,
if they can go pick up a possession receiver, that's amazing. And I just don't know, I'm trying to spin this the best way possible, but I think I'm trying to be a realist. I'm not going to be able to talk you into 9 wins, 10 wins. I can't do that. 8 wins. Maybe I can talk to you 6 or 7.
Are they going to use Alvin Kamara the same way they did last year, where he's just doing everything? I realize there were injuries involved in that, but I just can't imagine at this stage in his career that's the best thing.
No, but I do think that they want to try to get some good mileage out of him. I do think they're going to have to rely on what they hope is a healthy Kendre Miller and Devin Neal to be able to give him some, rest and be able to do a little bit more like he can do. I do think that they want to line him up and outside. They do want to line him up in the slot. They do want to make sure to get him out of the backfield and throw him a few passes. But they're going to have to be careful how they use him. They can't really run him into the ground if this is the so-called still another rebuilding season, and they give him one more year in 26, and they really kind of go for it when the cap opens up for them, and they have hopefully another solid draft class. But they need him, but they just need to be careful how they use him. If you understand what I'm saying, they're going to have to really rely on the other 2 guys behind him to make sure that, they can kind of somewhat help him carry the load so he's not getting beat up for 17 games.
Anything stand out on the offensive side from OTAs? I know that this is y'all's first kind of real look at Kellen Moore and certainly of Tyler Shough.
Well, I'll be the first to admit, I told you that they should keep Fuaga at left tackle and move Banks to right tackle. And Dylan Randunce would play left guard. I'm completely wrong in every one of those. Every single one of those I was wrong. It's Banks at left tackle, Fuaga at right, and Trevor Penning was playing left guard. So they're going to give it a shot with Penning at guard. And look, it might work out. I know he was in Philly for 1 year, Kellen Moore, and they moved Mekhi Becton inside, and it worked out perfectly. And maybe that's what they're hoping to get out of Trevor Penning. This was last year with the Saints. They didn't pick up his 5th-year option. So if they make him look successful at guard, they look like, brilliant coaches by doing it. I think, look, why not? You give it a chance. You give it a shot this year. Like I said, this year's a year that you're trying to figure things out, and it might work out really well with the tackles. I mean, I understand why they're doing what they're doing with Banks, keeping him there because he hasn't played right tackle since high school. Fuaga played it throughout his entire career until he played left tackle last year. So I understand why they did that. And I think that was the biggest thing. Look, Hunt, the rest of practice, it was essentially a 7-on-7. It was like flag football. They're getting ready for the Olympics pretty much, just watching practice. I mean, both quarterbacks looked good. One was 7 of 8, the other was 8 of 8, both making good passes down the field. But it's a learning session. They're teaching them. You're not getting much in these next few weeks. You're just getting a bunch of teaching and learning in 7-on-7.
How would you compare Rattler and Shough in terms of how they look out there? We know that Rattler's got some athleticism to him, a little whippiness in the arm. What does Shough look like next to him?
Both of them, Shough and Rattler, both got a little bit of athleticism. I think that Rattler is a little bit more athletic. He's not, obviously not as big.
Right.
I mean, Shough is like a 6'5" dude, 220. Rattler is a little bit bigger than me, who can move a little quicker. Both have solid arms. I'd give them that. They both have very solid arms. I mean, Rattler is nice. His deep balls are nice, and Shough has got a cannon on him. So, not much. The only difference I'd say he's a little bit more athletic than Shough. That's because of his frame. He's not that big, so he can move quicker, get out of a little bit of trouble a little quicker. But that's about it. I mean, I want to see this in training camp. I mean, I don't want to see 7-on-7. I want to see full team drills. I mean, 7-on-7 is it's hard to get much other than your arm strength and your precise passes and how accurate you are and how much zip you have on those passes.
The thing that makes this fascinates me is that this is theoretically like a real quarterback battle, and I'm curious how you think the two of them will handle it as far as their relationship goes. I'm not asking to be best buds, but you think there can be some friction?
No, I think they're both mature and they understand it's a profession, man. Like they don't have to worry about like the friction between each other. They're both from the Chandler, Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona area. They kind of know of each other, and they've gotten a chance to become better friends in the time they've been on the field together. So no, I don't see any friction. I mean, you're not going to see the same friction we saw last year when they wanted Rattler to play over Derek Carr. You're not going to see any of that. I mean, you got good coaches, you got good players, you got good veterans. You're not going to see much of that this year. I think that ship has sailed where you see friction between quarterbacks in the quarterback room. That's
a good thing. Need to sing Kumbaya and get moving things in the right direction down there in New Orleans. Sharief Ishaq, WDSU, covering the Saints. He's with us every single Tuesday. Thanks, man.
Anything and anytime for you, Hunt.
Appreciate it. Sharief comes on once a week on this show. I give him 5 minutes a year, which I think is a beneficial trade for me. I appreciate him very much for making himself available each and every week. He's always with us on Tuesdays. Usually in the second hour, they got to get back out there to do some work this afternoon, so we got to Sharief a little bit early today. If you're looking for your Saints coverage, you can always find it on LouisianaSports.net. Ross Jackson has a ton of coverage wall-to-wall on everything, OTAs, everything about he's writing some features on the veterans right now and kind of what their role is in New Orleans. If you're looking for Saints coverage, you can find it there at LouisianaSports.net. And certainly wherever you find your podcast, Hunt on Saints. We talk Saints each and every day. Hey, it's Hunt. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.